How much do you know about chocolate? This video is part of a series of videos and posts with the hashtag #KnowYourFood. Chocolate is one of the most beloved foods in the world, and still only few know the backstory of their chocolate bar. With this series of videos, we want to motivate everyone to become more curious about what they eat and step by step become more aware of the impact of their consumption. We cannot stop eating, but we can decide what to eat, and this is a form of activism. Chocolate comes from the cacao tree, more specifically from the beans inside the cacao pods. These grow on the trunk and on the main branches of the tree, and depending on the strain, we have different colors. Once collected, the pod breaking process begins, which is typically done with a machete. The next step is fermentation, which takes from 2 to 9 days. This process separates the bean from the pulp. Afterwards, the beans are laid out to dry in the sun until they become browner. They are sorted and bagged in sacks and then taken to a seaport, and after a lot of negotiations by intermediaries representing local authorities and Western companies, they are then taken to manufacturing plants, mainly in Europe and North America. What about the environmental impact? Chocolate is a slow food in the sense that cacao trees are all but efficient. This and the growing demand lead unavoidably to deforestation. It takes an entire year for a cacao tree to produce the cacao and 230 grams of chocolate, which is at most 2 standard chocolate bars. When one classifies cacao producers by efficiency, one sees that the bottom 25%, which only account for 10% of the global production, account for 40 to 50% of the global negative impact of cacao production. In general, farmers lack the resources required to improve their plantations, and since trees become less productive after some years, farmers tend to establish new ones. The lack of money and awareness of small producers also leads to both the misuse and overuse of pesticides and fertilizers, which negatively impact the quality of local water and causes soil contamination. Cacao accounts only for 0.7% of the land used for crops. This implies a very localized deforestation, which means low global environmental impact, but devastating in Africa and Latin America. We have not yet discussed who works on these plantations. It is estimated that over 2.1 million children work in cacao farms in Western Africa, most of them in hazardous conditions. Children are sometimes sold by their families or tricked and trafficked by agents with the promise of money. This is as of today a severe problem in Mali and Burkina Faso, where children are abducted by traffickers and taken to the Ivory Coast or Ghana. A child's workday at a cacao farm may involve using chainsaws and machetes to clear plantations. Children are also exposed to agricultural chemicals and often manipulate them themselves. After picking the pods, they are bagged in sacks which have to be dragged through the forest. They also harvest overhead cacao pods by climbing trees without following any safety guidelines while carrying sharp tools, and afterwards break the pods themselves with sharp knives. On cacao farms, 10% of child laborers in Ghana and 40% in the Ivory Coast do not attend school, which violates the International Labor Organization's child labor standards. Health-wise, cacao beans and the products derived from them contain iron that is readily absorbed by your body, unlike other plant sources of the mineral. They also contain tryptophan, an amino acid our body uses to make serotonin, a brain chemical that helps you relax. They also have flavonols, which have heart protective and anti-cancer properties. Chocolate is very high in calories. Moreover, it is often combined with dairies and sugars which alter the nutritional value of chocolate. Furthermore, many of the properties, such as those provided by flavonols, vanish when heated. Now that I have this information, what can I do? In order to decrease the environmental impact, we can reduce our consumption and buy ecological options. For social justice, avoid buying chocolate from big brands, support projects that address the problem of child labor, and restrict ourselves to fair trade chocolate products. As for what type of chocolate you should buy, try to go for dark, raw, and unsweetened. Most importantly, raise awareness. Talk to your friends and family about this. Don't forget that small actions can lead to big changes. For more information and sources, check our website.